Bu sunmamızda bize ön ayak olan Aytekin hocama.
I'd like to thank Professor Aytekin, who made this presentation possible. We already made a presentation about the ECT, and although it is the most effective treatment in diagnostic studies, there are no double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. So when we look at the psychiatry field, most of the studies are sponsored by the industry. Therefore, these phase studies are even more important for us because up to 80 or 90% they are providing great resources for us. For instance, Hamilton depression sample is developed, and it is very important for the measurement of the effectiveness of tricyclic antidepressants. So they have great contribution to the clinic and to the field of medicine. First of all, this is a question in PhD of pharmacology. What is medication? Why is it developed? First of all, a drug is used in order to treat a disease and in order to reduce the symptoms of a disease. And also they ensure the protection from the disease, and also by means of different administration methods they are becoming effective in the diseases, and it is ensuring better conditions for the people who are suffering from certain diseases. What is clinical study? First of all, the studies are designed in order to understand the effect of a compound to be used in human, and also we have the preclinical phase, and during the discovery and research period we check whether the molecule is effective in a certain disease. What are the elimination reasons and what are the functions of the disease, of this molecule, whether it is reducing the symptoms of the disease or eliminating it completely. Preclinical phase is involving the potential chemical compound efficiency and reliability, and this is done in vitro or and in animals. We also try to see whether it is toxic, what kind of side effects can we see. These are all done on animal models. And then we have the clinical research, clinical study phases. They are in 4 phases, and they should be in line with the good clinical practices. In phase 1 studies, what do we do? First of all, approximately in 20 to 80 people, in healthy volunteers, the appropriate dose interval is identified in terms of reliability and toxicity. The doses in human, side effects are evaluated. The main purpose is to define reliability. And in Turkey, just in 2013, a phase 1 research center is established. There is only one phase 1 research center that was established in Ege University. Unfortunately, we do not have the infrastructure for developing our own drugs. When we look at phase 2, in phase 2 studies, so after phase 1, we identified the reliability, toxicity, and dose range. Now in phase 2 studies, we try to see whether they are effective in the patient groups. So we use 100, 200, or 300 patients, volunteers. And in phase 2 studies, the basic purpose is to find out the effectiveness of the drug in therapeutic indication. We are trying to see the optimum dose, and after that we continue with phase 3 studies. For instance, it is found to be effective in phase 2, then we continue with the phase 3. We have wider patient population in phase 3 studies. It is between 1,000 to 3,000 patients. And also, until the new drug application to the official institution, the efficacy and side effects of the new product is checked in this phase 3 studies. The main aim is to prove the efficacy and monitorization of side effects. And also comparison is done in terms of reliability and effectiveness. For instance, you can have a certain indication, and if you would like to add another indication, you can start with phase 3. You do not start with phase 1. Every country has its own approving institutions. In Turkey, we have the Pharmaceuticals and Medical Devices Authority connected to the Ministry of Health. And for phase 4 studies, this is a wide scope monitoring study after the drug is licensed and marketed. In some cases, some of the drugs have to be withdrawn from the market in the phase 4 studies. So, in fact, development of a drug takes approximately 10 to 15 years, and the cost is between $800 million to $1.8 billion for a single molecule. Sometimes the data collected from the study may be just in vain if the study design is incorrect. For that reason, for instance, in Turkey, people think that our people are not subjects, so we cannot try the drugs on our people. It is not the case, because most of the studies are carried out in developed countries, and Russia and some other countries do not give the license if the studies are not conducted in their own countries. So approximately 5,000, 10,000 molecules are taken at hand in the preclinical studies, and 250 molecules are taken to clinical studies. Only 5 of them can pass through these phase 1, 2, and 3 studies, and only 1 can be approved in 10 or 15 years, and the cost is approximately $3 billion. So how can we follow these clinical studies? For instance, we would like to study the efficacy of quetiapine in schizophrenia, for instance, and there could be some biased views in the industry, but the clinicaltrials.gov was established in the US because we need to also know the negative aspects. So if quetiapine is not effective in clinical depression, then we need to know those results as well. And also there are some websites in Europe, and they have to be registered in these websites. And also there are some internet sites, including the national study registries. China, Korea, Australia, New Zealand all have these internet sites. The clinicaltrials.gov was established in 2000. However, the registries are have increased since 2005, because the Medical Publications Association said that if you are not registered to this clinicaltrials.gov, then your publications will not be published. After that, all the studies are started to be registered here, and in 2011, FDA also said that they should be registered in this system. About these clinical trials, we have the data from the world. Right now, there are 144,475 clinical studies going on. The red areas are the areas where we have the resource of the studies, where the molecules are found and studies. You can see that Europe is leading, and when it becomes green on the screen, there we have fewer studies. Turkey is also among in that region. How many studies are there in Turkey? 1,295 is the number. As you can see, in Israel, there are 3,900 studies, and it is red in a map. When we look at phase studies, they are 88,951 in number. 25,000 phase studies are from Europe, and in Turkey, in fact, this is a detailed distribution of phase studies in Europe. As I said before, in developed countries, there are more, and in Greece, it's about 10,000. So Greece is just a neighbor dealing with a crisis. And unfortunately, in Turkey, we have just 973 trials. In Israel, on its own, there are 2,247 phase studies going on. So, what is the situation of psychiatric phase studies in the world? The United States is the leading country. Totally 3,135 studies are conducted in America, in the continent of America. 774 is from Europe, 124 is from the region of Turkey, and there are only 19 psychiatric phase studies in Turkey. And I can say that in the Diyarbakir, we really pushed the way. We really were insisting that some of the phase studies are conducted in our country. So as you can see, psychiatric phase studies are also higher in number in Israel. It's 99. As of 2012, there are approximately 200 drugs that are being developed for psychiatric disorders. What are the reasons? What are the indications for these drugs? There are 22 for sleep disorders, 36 for schizophrenia, for eating disorders, 3 for developmental disorders, 10 for depression, 52, 10 for cognitive disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is 20, anxiety 26, and 26 for substance abuse. But some of them are developed in more than one indication. What is the situation of phase studies in schizophrenia? There are 1,126 studies going on for schizophrenia. 17 of them are from Turkey. Again, Israel is having more studies than us. And when we look at the number of phase studies distributed to the psychiatric disorders, in depression there are 1,324. There are 14 studies in Turkey. In bipolar disorder it's 514 and 9 in Turkey. Anxiety disorder is 610 in the world and 2 in Turkey. In panic disorder it's 45. There is none in Turkey. And also in dementia we have just 6 studies, while it is 1,036 in the world. So we can say that sometimes we can produce only 1% or none of the information that is produced. What about the researchers' payments? In Turkey, it is not very promising. In South Africa, it's 90%. In Austria, it's 60%. It's 70 and 90 in France. Is the same in Germany. 85 in Greece. In Poland, it's 90, and it's 54% in Turkey. And the highest rate is belonging to Diyarbakir. And Aytekin is dealing with that, and 54 is the maximum figure that can be paid. That's all I can say. Thank you very much. If you have any